Episode 24 with our director, engineer, and producer, Mike Herrera. Dave and Joe talking about a subject that Joe wants to introduce. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch a little bit on the importance of, having a mental awareness before every pitch. So I feel like talent only gets you so far. That's something we talk about a lot. But you can have all the tools, you can make a play, but that's only half of what's going on there. So if you don't understand the situation, if you don't know who's on base, if you're not aware of the count, if you're not aware of how many outs there are, the score, is it late in the game, is it early in the game, what are you going to do if you get the ball? And also, are you telling yourself you want the ball? I feel like there's a lot of situations there that kids just don't think about. Their mind is blank and the ball gets hit and then they're ready to shit their pants.
One of the best players do that.
Yeah. And
whatever level you're talking about. Yeah.
I feel like it's just not stressed enough.
I
mean, it's always like, this is wrong with your swing, this is wrong with your base running, this is wrong with your pitching. But when do we emphasize it needs to be hammered home all the time? Okay, what are you thinking?
It can be coached, it can be taught, and it's ignored by most coaches, no matter, until you get to the pro level. I think they stress that out a lot. They understand situations, but our level, below our level, which is our level is high school, below our level, which is youth / young travel, they don't stress that. Whatever they're doing, whether they're on the mound or at the plate, they're just, they just don't think that way. And it comes down to thinking.
And most players are average. Otherwise, there wouldn't be the term average, right?
Right.
Most players are average. So what sets you aside from being average? If you have so much talent, so much strength, so much whatever, your mental game is gonna take you to the next level.
Give me specific examples of stuff that isn't taught enough from the mental side.
Like a specific scenario?
Yeah.
Okay, so one that I like to think of a lot, that a lot of kids, it never pops in their head and they don't practice it in practice, in games, in anything, so that when the time comes, their opportunity vanishes. So like, let's say you're playing shortstop and there's a runner on third base and you got one out, you got one out or no outs. Ground ball gets hit right to you, or a little bit up the middle, and we know that's a little bit of a tougher play for guys to be able to get it going up the middle and spin, or even in the hole and make a long throw across the field, right?
Right.
A lot of kids aren't being taught, that mental game, telling yourself there's a guy on third. If this happens, what am I going to do? If you don't have a play in the hole, you should pump fake hard to first and turn around and throw one to third and get the guy, catch the runner behind him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little scenarios like that where, like, if you just think about what possibilities you have before the pitch, you'll be ready to do that.
Yeah.
If you know you can't make that throw deep in the hole between short and third, sell a hard pump fake and give it to third base and get a guy sleeping, because he probably wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what sets yourself apart from competition. That runner on third might not be thinking that you're going to be smart enough to go in the hole, pump fake, and throw behind me.
Yeah.
And stuff like that happens all the time. When you see a sound play, you're like, wow, that kid really thought it out.
Yeah, and you can also, if the guy takes off and maybe he thinks you're going to throw to first base, and that your footwork, your feet are in a position that you can't make that throw to first. You just throw home and you catch a guy by surprise.
Exactly. And just knowing that guy's there and understanding your limits.
Right.
But if you don't think about that scenario, now you're just reacting when the ball's hit, and you're not 100% sure what you're going to do next. You just know, okay, I've been practicing my technique. I got to field the ground ball. But what do you do after that?
Right.
And that should be thought about. And that's a little more of a complex one, but even something as basic as, okay, I'm in center field. There's a guy on second base. He's average to a little bit above average speed. If the ball gets hit to me, I got a chance to get him out at home, but I'm going to throw it to my cut still. If the ball gets hit way in the gap, I probably don't have a chance at him unless I'm a freak athlete, right? So what do? I got to get the ball to second base and try to keep that runner at first.
Yep, that should be taught by the coaching staff.
But some guys don't think that through, and they need to know. Okay, there's a guy on second, one out. What am I going to do? Let's keep double play in check.
Yeah, they need to be taught that. I mean,
It's just little things like that.
and that's the difference between winning teams and losing teams.
And if you ball gets hit in the gap, that guy's gonna score, and you throw it home. Now that runner's going to second. Now you don't. Now you still have one out, runner on second in scoring position, and no double play option.
So you just repeated the scenario. So guys on second, the ball's hitting in the gap. You throw the ball home slowly to a cutoff man. Meanwhile, the guy goes into second base, the runner scores, and you're back to the same thing.
And that's even assuming you hit the cutoff.
That's even assuming.
Wild
So,
throw.
so now you cut the ball off, you throw the ball to second base and hold the guy to a single. Now what do you have? You have a double play situation. You keep the guy out of scoring position, whatever the out scenario is.
And you limit your pitcher's pitches.
And you limit your pitch. Yeah. So now you've held the team to one run. Let's say you get out of it, and whatever the situation is, it gives you a better chance to either keep the lead or try to tie the ball game up or go ahead. So.
And the best part to take away from that is you're not the hero when you throw the ball home. You're the hero when you make the right choice.
There's a lot of hero searching in sports. I was, watching some basketball and there's some hero shots and, get the ball to the guy who's open and don't start searching for shots and, just because you want to be a hero rather than help your team. And this is helping your team.
Exactly. You make the right decision. You help your team.
Right.
Now, if
I saw that play.
Hard shot right at you and you go home, that's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, you gave three scenarios. You started out, okay, if the ball's hit at me, I'm going to, I have an option of going home. If the ball's hit to the left of me, then, I assume the guy from third base is going to score. If the ball's hitting a hole and I can't,
get to it.
I can't make that strong throw to third base, then, first base, then I'm going to pump fake or maybe throw home. And I saw that happen. I saw Juan Uribe, shortstop for the White Sox. They hit a ball in the hole, and there was a guy on third base, and he thought it was in left field for a hit. And he was trotting home, and Uribe just said, I'm not going to be able to throw at the first base. And he had a gun. And he threw the ball home, and he got the guy out, and it actually saved the game. I think they were down a run or tied at the time, and they ended up come back and winning because, they made a play like that. That's winning baseball.
Yeah. I saw, I think 2 years ago when I was a senior, one of my friends was playing second base. The infield was in, and there was a man on first and third. But they hit a hard ground ball to short, and we had the guy at second for the double play to get out of the inning. So what happened was the guy on third froze for a second, and my buddy realized he wasn't going to be able to turn a double play. He flipped to the second baseman. Second baseman pump faked it to first and turned around and threw it across the third and got him out.
Oh, that's a beautiful play.
Right? Because you realize, and that's just great awareness, just understanding the situation. You got a guy on third there, and then you have that awareness of who's running, right? Because you realize you can't get the double play that you pump fake and throw to third. That got us out of an inning in a big game. So, just having that mental cue, all of these scenarios queued up in your head, and that comes from watching, that comes from thinking about it, that comes from telling yourself, okay, one, I want the ball. Because if you don't want the ball, you're not going to think up these scenarios.
Right.
When you want the ball and you're excited, you're like, yeah, when this ball goes in the gap, this is exactly what I'm doing.
And I think that's a really good teaching, coaching point. You want the ball, number one, and what are the scenarios if they hit the ball to me? And there was a play when I first started out coaching, and it was like the third or fourth year, and we're playing a really tough team. There's a runner on second base, and they're trying to hit the ball to the right side, the team we're playing against. And we talked about situation, but this is a play that I've never seen in high school before or after this. And this guy was a really, not a gifted player, but he was a really baseball savvy kid. So they hit a hard one shot to him at second base. And he figured, this guy at second base thought, okay, hey, I'm gonna go right into third base easily. He gets up and he guns the ball to third base, and we get a tag play, and we end up winning the game.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, right?
I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Okay, take the out of first base. Now there's a runner. Now we're going to have the infield in.
Because the ball got hit so hard.
Yes.
He knew he had it.
Yes.
He had time.
And he played it in his head. If the ball's hit hard to me, nobody told him that, but we taught situations. To him, that was a That was a non-risk play. Hard ground ball. I knew the speed of the guy at second base. Boom.
Exactly. That's great. That is. I had never seen that before.
Never. I never saw it. And then
But it's thinking on your. It's thinking.
what
just
happened the next
on your
play?
feet. You're
Double
ready.
play.
Great.
Double play. So we're out of the inning with nothing. And we end up scratching together a couple runs and winning the game. And Brother Rice is a good team, and we were an up and coming team, and that helped us a lot.
And what the best part about that is, if you don't get a double play and the guy gets a hit or he gets a double, that guy on third scores.
Yeah.
But even if you give up that hit, at least you didn't give up a run.
Yeah, right.
You make a
Now I've seen that happen a couple times in the pros where the guy just takes the ball and he throws to third base and gets the guy because they don't think they're going to throw over there, but these guys got cannons, So, but it's a great point playing winning baseball and always wanting the ball hit to you and playing situations in your mind, and just I think that's got to be covered, because if it's not, players won't work on it. They'll just work on throwing the ball as hard as they can, hit the ball as hard as they can.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's just it comes with having the discipline to take those mental reps, because even on double play balls, I mean, only so many double plays are turned from like pure talent and skill.
Right.
Right. I mean,
and again, what you just said, most players are average.
Yeah.
What's going to make them better than average? And there you go.
I mean, you get a double play ball, it's got to be hit fairly hard.
Yeah.
Decent location.
Yeah.
To turn it. They call them tailor made. Right.
Yeah.
The ones that are really made out of nowhere, that's just exceptional.
Yeah.
Most double plays are hit, not turned.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, moving on. What'd you have?
I have controversy, of course, with pitching. And there's a lot of sites that I read, and travel coaches complain that they want to have their pitchers thrown in the off season. And these are young pitchers. These are not like built pitchers. They're still young pitchers.
So how old are they?
Anywhere between 9 and 17.
Okay.
And they want to start throwing. They want to start that. And now you come across these guys, Dr. James Andrews, and some other responsible sites featuring major league pitchers or pitching coaches saying, "What are you doing?" I mean, we even shut down our pitchers. Young pitchers should have 3 to 4 months off. Now, that does not include not throwing. You can throw, but not from a mound. Highly stressful, too much torque, especially for kids who aren't fully developed physically. Why does your ego have to have young pitchers pitch for your travel team in the spring? Now, high school coaches are guilty of this too. Even though you're not supposed to have high school practice in the winter, it's not supposed to be supervised by people from this coaching staff, but it happens. And they got these guys throwing. They got these guys throwing off mounds. Are you crazy? And then they wonder why their arms hurt in late March, April, and May, and they're basically done for the high school season. And the youth season, they're done. They can't handle that stress. It's such a stressful skill, pitching. I mean, you walk around like this. That's the natural movement. You don't walk around like this. So therefore, your arms aren't strong enough, okay? So in order to pick up your arm 120 times as a pro, and now there's
sling an object of weight,
right,
as fast as you can.
Right, and it doesn't matter how hard you throw. It's the same amount of stress from your body, okay? Maybe a guy who throws 60, it takes him a lot of energy and stress to throw 60. Mm-hmm. So it's irresponsible for any coach on the youth level to have kids throw off a mound. And 3 to 4 months is a pretty good standard. Don't throw off a mound, okay? Trust your knowledge enough and trust your way you're conditioning your pitchers enough that when the season legitimately starts, the kids will be ready to throw off a mound. You can have them throw, play catch. You can have them semi-long toss. You don't have to have, a really big long toss, because again, throwing is stressful from a mound or just playing catch.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many other things they could be doing that would help them become a better pitcher anyways.
Right, right.
Play regular catch, work on a better arm motion,
And you know,
work on better leg mechanics.
yes, absolutely. You can
Exercise,
You can shadow, yes,
stretch.
yes. And every skill is from the ground up. Work on strengthening your legs, work on strengthening your core, work on strengthening your back muscles, everything important in throwing and pitching. Don't just, okay, we're going to try to throw as hard as I can because there's a gun there and we want to show everybody I'm throwing 65 now or I've got up to 80. No, it's going to hurt you. And these guys, the scouts that have guns there should be shot because they're just going to ruin kids' arms.
Yeah.
Well, you don't throw hard. Well, I hurt my arm trying to throw for you 85 in December when I hadn't thrown since October.
Yeah.
So how responsible is that? Again, this is a failure profession because.
I mean, if guns are going to be used, those should be used in game scenarios.
Yeah.
That's when you're really going to see, look, I could air it out on the mound and get a decent velocity. But when I get in the game, I'm not throwing like that.
No.
It depends on the player, the person, his skill set, his tools, his strength.
And remember, in youth baseball and high school baseball, they play more than one position. So when you're not pitching, you're playing shortstop, you're playing center field, you're playing second base, third base. You have a lot of throws there. So, okay, you're gonna do some pitching in the wintertime, and then you're gonna play in the field. That's why just stick to throwing and just lob throw over there. Work on positioning your feet. Work on squaring up your shoulders, and don't throw 100% because you're going to play shortstop, you're going to pitch, and build yourself up, starting with your legs, starting with your core, doing dynamic range of motion exercises with your upper body, including your shoulder areas. Do some Dr. Job exercises, to strengthen your shoulder area and your elbow areas, and get ready for the season and not try to throw for a gun.
And I think this kind of all relates to just having the discipline to do the right thing because, there is going to come a time when you do have to throw the ball hard, right? But
does it have to be in November or December?
Yeah, you don't want to throw the ball hard when you're not warmed up either.
Right.
I mean, a common saying that people say is you don't throw to warm up, you warm up to throw. So,
right.
I mean, if you're throwing for the first time and you hadn't moved before that, that's an issue because you're stiff and you're going to hurt your arm.
Okay, well, we'll just go with this one scenario. We had this, and I'm not going to embarrass the coach because he's a Hall of Fame coach, but he played this Catholic school team like 4 years ago, and I still think you were in school 6 years ago. And the kid threw 157 pitches in March. Mm-hmm. That was before the pitch count. 157 pitches. That was the last game he threw.
That's it.
Wasn't warmed up.
Cold out.
37 degrees out. And he was thinking big college. I think he ended up going to a big college, D1. But somebody said to him, and it was good advice, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. 157 pitches to beat a team in March when it doesn't matter anything. You just try to get in shape for late April, May, playoffs, state playoffs, whatever, city playoffs. But you don't do that. That's so irresponsible. And I haven't heard about the kid since he graduated from college, so high school. So obviously it hasn't been a significant career.
Shitty.
Yes, it's shitty. Question to you. Who's easier to coach? The pros or high school kids?
I feel like I personally will never know the answer because I don't know if I'll have the crack at the pro level. But it's tough because in the pros, you have all the tools you need in front of you. It's a matter of making those right decisions and getting those guys to buy into you, right?
Right.
But that's the same situation at a younger level too. They need to buy into you, but they're far from developed and far from where they need to be physically and mentally.
Right. We've had a pitching coach for the White Sox for a long time. and the players seem to follow him and buy into him. He's had, 2 or 3 guys that haven't agreed with him, but mostly he fixes what's wrong with them, and they've had successful careers, and they're pretty much follow what he has to say, and that's why it's easier.
Yeah.
Because you have position coaches like you don't have in high school, right? Or in youth sports. So when you have good hitting coaches and they go back to the hitting coach, what did I do wrong? What can I work on? And they go and watch film.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, that makes sense. I mean, if all you have to do is work on getting them to buy into what your philosophy and teaching is, yeah, I mean, because you got to do that and so much more at a younger level.
The manager is he's more like a CEO of the dugout. Okay, you got your hitting coach, you got your pitching coach. The first base coach works with the outfielders. Third base coach works with the infielders, which is the way the White Sox do it. And you watch, you get feedback, and the pitching coach says, "Well, this guy was pretty good in the bullpen. He had a good side session. He's ready for the bullpen today." The starting pitcher, it seemed like when he comes in the bullpen, he didn't have his crackling breaking ball. So right now we're going to go with fastball changeup and see how that goes. When you're a high school coach, you have to deal with so many other things. In your high school, you deal with just periphery stuff. My high school, you have people who think that they are better than they are, and they're enabled by outside sources. And you can figure out who the outside sources are.
So you have the challenge of teaching them baseball, teaching them to understand.
You're the head coach, you're the third base coach, I'm the pitching coach, and I don't need any interference from anybody else unless they come to practice every day and work for nothing. And they're not going to do that. They're not going to leave their job. But yet they have a lot of opinions that are wrong. Just like if I went to their business and said, "Hey, look, you better do this hernia surgery differently because I saw something on Channel 11." So I'm not going to listen to them. And if I need I see these kids every day, and if I really want to ask somebody's opinion, I'd ask you. Mm-hmm. I'd ask guys who've been in the business for a long time. I'd ask any player that had experience in it. I'm not going to ask a parent who has one thing in mind, their kid. With rare exceptions, do we have parents that just are program-oriented more so than just their kid. Mm-hmm. So it's easier when you have pro coaches that
coaching pro players
that
with all the resources
that believe in you, that have a reputation and have been in the business for a long time, and they've had a successful track record. So I think that's easier. It would be like being on vacation because you get all this tape and said, okay, you
can't. And you're getting paid for it.
And you get paid a lot for it. So, okay, your key, your key to breaking ball, and you're getting underneath it, and they've seen it on tape. Oh yeah, coach. Okay, you leave the mound, you go back in the dugout, and he gets on top of his breaking ball, and he has a successful game. That's, to me, it's easy. Yeah. You have to get there. That's impossible. It's impossible to be to get a pro job unless you have been a pro pitcher or you know the right people. But other than that, it's you have all the.
It's a challenge.
You have all the access to state of the art equipment and technology and experience either as a coach or as a player, so it's easier.
Yeah, and I don't know what it's like, and I mean I'm sure there's other areas of the country where a head coaching job pays a good amount of money in the high school level, but I mean here in Chicago, I mean
no.
The stipend's not much.
No.
Nothing to live off of or anything. It's,
no.
You're putting in this effort purely because you love to coach, and
I guess the suburban coaches get. I've heard they get $10,000 for a stipend, which is it's really good. Mm-hmm. I don't even get half that, so it's we're not doing it for that.
Yeah, and that's really what separates when you talk about like what's easier, what's harder. You're doing all this with less talent. You know, you have other outside factors involved.
Right.
You're not getting paid. It's just that your own daily grind of showing up every day and
Right.
using your knowledge and your expertise and what you enjoy to try to put.
And that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
To inform everybody, coaching's a tough profession. Coaching kids is tough, and you should be qualified. And we try to enlighten people about what it's really about, not just pretend.
Yeah.
That's it. Episode 24. Have a happy new year. Hopefully 2018 will be better.
So we'll be with our 25% to 100 next week. Episode 25.
Episode 25. And I believe our engineer, director, and all-around good producer guy, Mike, is going on vacation, or he's going somewhere. Aren't you, Mike?
Somewhere.
Joey's going somewhere.
I'm going somewhere.
Oh, you're going somewhere. Where are you
I'm
going?
headed to Canada.
Oh, the hot spot of North America.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to Montreal on Saturday.
Any particular reason?
Just for the new year, it's something different.
Ah,
Got to experience life.
brush
a
up
little
on your
bit.
French.
Yeah, right. And their food.
Heard it's not bad.
Alrighty. Well, Happy New Year, everybody.
Take care.